After a month-long break from league play, MLS action returns on Saturday for the final 9 games of the regular season for all teams. Both New York teams, the Red Bulls and NYCFC, they're right in the thick of battling for playoff positioning. So let's talk about all of this. We're going to do it with the lead host of MLS 360 on Apple TV. Kevin Egan joins me now. Kevin, how are you doing?
I'm great, Dexter. Better to be talking with you.
Yeah, always good to talk to you. It's been a while since we talked. We get to catch up on some MLS action. And Kevin, as the MLS season resumes, what are some of the biggest challenges teams face transitioning back from an intense Leagues Cup schedule to regular season play? What's the biggest challenges that most teams face?
I think it depends how far you get in the Leagues Cup. Let's be honest here. So you go on a run to, say, the final like Columbus and LAFC are in, tomorrow's final. Well, then they're going to have to adjust for next week, but they get a bye for this week. Whereas you get knocked out in the group stage and you've had about 3 weeks, nearly a new preseason. And that can be frustrating. That can be boring for players at times. But for coaching staffs, it's actually probably a chance to refocus, re-energize ahead of the second half of the season, or in many ways, the final stretch. For a lot of teams, Dexter, there's only 9 games left. So you're rounding the corner here into the final sprint of the MLS regular season. So it's crucial that they get it right. The Leagues Cup was phenomenal. The final will be epic tomorrow, but for a lot of teams now, it's a case of, right, back to work in Major League Soccer.
Yeah, back to work time. We're going to talk about some of the local teams as we transition to that. So let's start with the Red Bulls, because they're 4th in the Eastern Conference standings. They have 41 points, and their first match following the break is at Charlotte FC, who trails them by only 4 points. So what have you liked about the Red Bulls' form this season, and do you see them moving up in the standings before the end of the regular season?
It's funny because the Red Bulls sit in 4th, which, for those of you that aren't aware, the top 4 is crucial for home field advantage come the playoffs. So 4th will be a great finish for the Red Bulls this year, but I still feel like they haven't hit top gear yet. And I say that when they brought in Noah Ayla at the back, who's been tremendous. He's been a really good passer out of the back and a good defender. Further forward, they've Lewis Morgan back from injury, back from the Euros now, and he's scoring goals. And he's great friends with Dante Van Zer. That you want to see him scoring more, but he's been assisting as well up front. There's been a real rhythm. The Red Bulls did sell Amaya to Toluca in Liga MX, so they lose a key midfielder, but they bring in a key midfielder then in the transfer window. I think the Red Bulls will be fighting and scrapping for it, but I think it's going to get really, really close. The top 3 have separated themselves already. So for the likes of New York City, for the likes of Charlotte, the New York Red Bulls, everyone is honing in on that 4th spot.
Yeah, everybody gunning for that 4th spot. We'll see if the Red Bulls can hold on to their positioning right now. Now, sitting right behind the Red Bulls is NYCFC. You just mentioned them. They're in 5th place in the East. They have 38 points. New York did head into the Leagues Cup break with 3 straight draws. What has to change for New York to start putting some wins on the board over the final 9 games of the season?
I think they're one of those teams, Dexter, that will come away from the Leagues Cup buzzing. That the Leagues Cup gave them this new lease on life, this kind of energy and zest for the game again, because they were a little bit stagnant at times, it felt, before the Leagues Cup. And now all of a sudden, New York City, watching them play in Leagues Cup, they take out Tigres, a giant from Mexico. They go and they face Columbus, at Columbus, the MLS champions, and they score after 14 seconds. They take the game all the way to penalty kicks, and they lose, unfortunately, on penalty kicks. But there's a fresh feel and energy and vibe around this New York City team now under Nick Cushing that I wouldn't be surprised to see them make a run. And it's an exciting team. I just wish they had a striker that's found his form by now, because they've got 3 strikers, Mijatovic, Bakrar, and Martinez. Martinez scored after 14 seconds against Columbus, but he's been hot and cold. He's been really good when he's hot, and then all of a sudden you're left wanting more when he's cold. And they've yet to have a striker really step up and grab that mantle like we've seen in New York City in the past with the likes of Castellanos and David Villa.
Yeah, you'd like to see some of that consistency up front, and I do wonder, as you mentioned there, Kevin, does their performance in the Leagues Cup, does that sort of galvanize them moving forward and sort of propel them towards these final 9 games of the season? We'll see how that works out for NYCFC. So, Kevin, what's interesting here is if the season ended today, we would have a New York derby in the playoffs with both local teams facing off against each other. If we do get the Red Bulls versus NYCFC in the postseason, who would you like coming out on top in that matchup?
Oh, man, Dexter, you're throwing the impossible question at me here, because I don't remember a season where it felt like the Red Bulls in New York City were as close as they are this year. it feels to me genuinely like there's not much can separate these two teams. So therefore, home field advantage would prove crucial, I think. Even though New York City has played at Red Bull Arena so many times, I think that if they could take it to Yankee Stadium versus going to Red Bull Arena, it's a massive advantage. So therefore, the top four finish is crucial. But both these teams have so many good young players. Both of these coaches feel like their clubs are in a really good moment right now. The Red Bulls certainly have been throughout the season, and they've had a little bit of a blip in the Leagues Cup, especially when they got knocked out of the Leagues Cup and they didn't even lose a game over 90 minutes, losing on penalties on both occasions. So I think it's too close to call. If you got me to hop off a fence and just call it right now, I'd probably go New York City by the slightest of margins.
There you go. Annoying the Red Bulls fans right there because you picked NYCFC, but by the slightest of margins, as you said, you will go NYCFC right now over the Red Bulls. We'll see how that all plays out. Who finishes in the top four? Do we get a New York Derby in the playoffs? Maybe we do. It should be interesting. The final games of the MLS season get started on Saturday today. It's a nice stretch. Most teams have about 9 games left. Kevin Egan, the lead host of MLS 360 on Apple TV, he will be all over it. Kevin, always good to talk some Major League Soccer with you. We will do this again soon, my friend. Thank you.
Yeah, cheers, Dexter. We'll see you for MLS 360, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time tonight on Apple.
Check it out.